Hello, and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. So, it's been a couple episodes since we've talked about our favorite con man Ken, and Kenny, my good friend. If Kenny, if you're listening, it's Poopoo Face. How are you? So, Kenny, the man who keeps on insisting that he's not going to communicate with the individual that is suing him in New York court, continues to communicate with him. The emails are entertaining as all hell, but one of them, well, some of them, coming from yesterday, are at that level of absurdity that I just have to touch upon. So you've been warned. If you have enough of Con Man Ken, some people are like, I don't want to hear any more of this. It's depressing, or I've heard enough. Well, you've been warned. You can, hit the pause button, move on to a prior episode, move on to a future episode. It's going to be a Con Man Ken one. So you have been warned. I'm going to make a few comments on this one too, because Kenny, if you're listening, and you should be, and I know you're oppositional in all you do. Your attitude is amazing. You really should listen to this one, because I have a little insight for you in your upcoming trip, and I really think you should consider things. So yesterday morning, Louis gets the following email from Ken Whitman. This is not a game. There is no bargaining. Well, I always thought that court cases were all about the bargaining, but okay. Especially civil cases. I want you to drive all the way to New York City to figure out if I do or do not have files. Now, he's referring to the high definition files for the Knights of the Dinner Table live action series that Ken has claimed to have or not have. It's either I need money to hand this over to Jolly and Company, or I lost it, the hard drive died, and I don't have it. It depends on how Ken thinks he's going to make money on this one, I guess. So, I know, I owned a fleet of vans and drove 10K miles a month for 2 years. A 1,600-mile round trip in just 24 hours is a 5-hour nap at a Pilot gas station somewhere in the middle. Now, Kenny, this is where my largest words of advice are going to come to you. All right? It is my understanding, but I have heard from good sources, doesn't mean that they are right, so we will leave this as alleged, that you are very much in arrears on your child support payments for your kids. When you are in arrears of child support payments, your privileges to drive get suspended. Your driver's license gets suspended. It gets suspended in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the other territories. Now, if you had to hand your driver's license over to a police officer in, I don't know, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, you're going to hand them your Georgia or your Kentucky driver's license, whatever you have at this point. And the license itself doesn't say suspended. They never do. But they're going to run it on the mobile digital terminal in their patrol vehicle. And it's going to show up as your driver's license being suspended in the very state that you are stopped in. Why is that? Because when your license gets suspended for failure to pay child support, you are effectively given a driver's license in every state. not a valid one. It is a suspended one. So, in any of these states that you drive through, theoretically, if you get stopped, you can be arrested. Now, let's assume that you have the plan to drive 1 mile under the speed limit. Always use your blinker. Always safely change lanes. You're not going to be aggressive. You're not going to tailgate. Why would you get stopped? You're right. Why would you get stopped? I got news for you. New York State has gone to, at least around the metropolitan area, cashless tolling. Now, what does cashless tolling mean? It means that when you drive into New York State, if you're coming from New Jersey, which you will be, those tolls, whether you are coming in on a bridge or a tunnel, are run by the Port Authority. So you will have those toll booths manned. That's fine. You come into the state, not a problem. New York City has tolls between pretty much every borough. So if you come in from lower New Jersey, come in through Staten Island, your issue is going to be that you're going to have cashless tolling, which means there's no manned booths. You drive right through on the Verrazano Bridge. If you come in from the George Washington, you're going to have that on the Triborough as you head into Manhattan. But you're going to go nice and quickly. They'll bill your account. Now, if your car is registered in your name, the issue for you is going to be is that your car will flag as you go through the cashless tolling that the owner has a suspended driver's license. Now, New York is kind of weird that all of our toll collectors that were full-time, not temporary employees, were, and still are, law enforcement. They manned their booths with a gun and a shield and a gun belt, and they would actually have patrol cars out there on the bridges and the tunnels, doing car stops for, I don't know, speeding or changing lanes over the solid double line. I'm just talking about things that I know I got stopped for. So here's your issue. All these guys and women that used to collect tolls are now out there on the bridges and the surrounding road to the bridges, waiting for pings on the cashless tolling for things like scofflaws and suspended licenses. And they will have probable cause to stop your vehicle when it pings and shows up on their computer pretty much right away that your license is suspended. Now, how do you avoid getting stopped for this? You might get lucky. They might be busy. I'm saying that most likely they will be busy. Most likely they'll have somebody else stopped. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. But you could, in theory, park in New Jersey at one of the PATH train stations as the Port Authority train that runs into Manhattan, and then hop the subway downtown. Because here's your other issue. You're going to come into lower Manhattan. You, as a Kentuckian, are going to think that you can park. You can't. If you are lucky, you could find a metered spot, but a metered spot is only going to last you an hour. You're going to come out. At best, your car will be ticketed. At worst, your car will be towed. Or you're going to park in a non-metered spot, figuring the confusing 7-part sign doesn't apply to you, and your car will be towed. Or maybe you're going to find a garage in the area. Sadly, it's going to cost you more than the gas money, probably both ways, for that. So if you're going to drive, my biggest selection to you, my good friend, use somebody else's car. Now, you continue with this email that telling Des you did not serve the right person at Kickstarter. They are not coming. And you're, misspelled, going to have to explain to a judge why you are in Supreme Court over $250. With no Kickstarter there, that's all you got. Ken. they were served. The company was served. The corporation was served. It doesn't make a difference. If they don't show up, they'll just get thrown again. Hope the judge ain't pissed and make you pay damages for wasting, misspelled, everyone's time. Well, Ken, I hope that the judge doesn't get pissed at you for all the bullshit that you submitted. I'll get onto that in a second. And wasting everyone's time. Poor, stupid, disbarred, or never made it being a lawyer, Desi Jr. I'm willing to see how this plays out. If things don't go my way, 20%, I file Chapter 13, and after 2 years when I can't pay, it will turn into a 7. So, fuck you, and fuck off. Ah, beautiful Ken. You are so freaking amazing. You already have this thing planned out because you've already filed bankruptcy, what? Well, I know at least once. Twice? You filed it last time right before you did the Knights of the Dinner Table Kickstarter. How often can you file bankruptcy? I know there's a limit. I don't know. So, now here's the other thing that Ken did this week. I mentioned this on the blog side. I think, personally, this just takes a unique individual. So he files an exhibit, and the exhibit he files is basically a photograph of 3 copies of the Knights of the Dinner Table live action series DVD being released, being held in somebody's hand in a car as proof that his obligations are fulfilled. Look, it is completed. I filmed it and somebody else published it, and my obligation is done. Here's the problem with that, Ken. That photo you submitted, which with the black and white, it just shows Knights on the Dinner Table on it. But here's your problem. This was originally from Jolly. Jolly had originally shared that picture on Facebook in color. In that color, it says Knights of the Dinner Table, the live action series, and then rescued. Big red letters. But don't appear to come out in your black and white submission, but that's okay. Nice. This is Jolly. Folks are receiving the Knights of the Dinner Table rescue DVDs in the mail. These aren't fulfillment of Ken Whitman's Kickstarter, by the way. They are the best possible cuts made by Ben Dobbins of ZOE on his own time and dime. So backers can at least see what they paid to have produced. So yeah, Ken, it would be nice if you had indicated where the photo came up. You insinuate, you actually state that this is a backer holding copies of what they paid for. No, dude, it isn't backers. It's fucking Jolly. The man who gave you a license to complete a project which you failed to do, and you just keep on failing. So, well, by the way, Ken, that's not an allegation. That actually is what you did. Okay? You submitted it. I have it posted on the blog, and Jolly took the original photo. I have that on the blog too. So, Ken, as you are fond of saying to Desi and everybody else, go fuck yourself. All right? I mean it with all affection. I really do. And I would suggest in the future, because you're talking about having the state of Kentucky sue Desi, because harassment is, as you're talking about it, is a civil issue. Because if you're looking for a criminal issue, you can file criminal charges against Desi. And I got news for you. Just like you never went to Georgia when you had criminal charges filed against you, Desi's not going to come to Kentucky for a misdemeanor charge, and they're not going to extradite. Not over this bullshit. So even if you successfully filed criminal charges, they aren't going anywhere. You know it. You're so full of bluster. Oh, and by the way, when you do file those charges, I hope you drive yourself to the police station. I would find that very amusing. Well, thank you, folks. Thank you for listening. As always, stay safe. God bless. Roll your dice well. Again, a huge thanks to my backers on Patreon. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, and countdown is 2 days. 2 days till I turn 51. Holy shit. All right, on that note, check it out.